Hello, everyone. It's nice to be with you all. My name is Anique Drumright. I am the VP of Product for IT at Rippling. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about Rippling's secret sauce. So for those of you who don't know, Rippling is a workforce management system. And what makes Rippling really unique is how it approaches being a startup. So most startups are singular in focus. They want to build a point solution. Rippling's entire thesis is we actually want to be a compound startup. And the reason why is because we believe we can create a better, more integrated experience for admins. And also, as a business, it helps us grow a lot faster. So the unique insight that powers Rippling is that employee data is what powers every single workforce management tool. And so what we've done with that is we've built an employee graph. And on top of that employee graph, we've built common components, permissions, analytics, groups, policies. And the benefit for an admin is no matter what product I'm leveraging from Rippling, I already know the system, right? There's no learning curve. And on top of that, we're able to create incredible amounts of automation. So on top of that common foundation of data and common units that I like to think of as our platform Legos, we have built Rippling HCM, Rippling IT, and Rippling Spend. And again, this is a really novel way to approach building a company. Most people are focused on a single point solution, and we're actually building all of these businesses in parallel. And the question is, how do we do it? So first, let's give a little bit of a sense of just our scale. So we have built over 25 products in 9 years. We have over 20,000 global customers. We have over 150 former founders in seat. And we have over 30 employees with patents filed for inventions made at Rippling. And what I'd like you all to take away from kind of these stats is just the general scale Rippling is operating at could not possibly be done by one single person, right? There are many employees at Rippling that are constantly incubating and executing and scaling these businesses and these product lines while servicing our customers. So the question is, how are we doing it? So Parker Conrad is our CEO, and one of his pearls of wisdom is that Rippling has one underlying insight. We run hard and we push the limits of what is possible. And we do this day in and day out. So in thinking about what to share with SaaStr, I was like, man, what is it that we're avoiding within Rippling? And I think there are common pieces of wisdom that you often adopt because you think it's wise. And I think what Rippling has really proactively done is say, no, we don't want to fall into those traps. So the first is delegation, right? I'm a manager, I'm a leader, I'm going to delegate that problem. At Rippling, we don't like to over-delegate. The next is moving step by step, that you can only do one thing at a time. When I'm interviewing candidates, people ask me, what should I know about Rippling product culture? And I said, it's an and culture, right? A traditional PM, you're trained to think about prioritization. You got to prioritize, you got to prioritize, you got to prioritize. I'm not saying we don't prioritize at Rippling, but it's not singular, right? We believe our magic sauce is actually building parallel products that can work together. So we actually challenge this idea that you should be doing something just one step at a time. And then the next one is being patient. I would say, we all strive to be respectful and to be good teammates, but we actually rely on being somewhat impatient at Rippling as a way to consistently be incubating and innovating at this scale. So here is what we do instead. One of our first core values that you learn as a new employee at Rippling is that it is your responsibility to go and see. So if something's not working and you just get a spreadsheet or a summary, it's actually your responsibility to go down to the source of that data and really understand what's happening for a customer, right? So if you say, hey, this product isn't going well, here's the aggregated data, here's 50% of that data, it's not enough to stop at that aggregate, you need to go read those support tickets. You need to go call the customer. You need to go listen to the gong and actually intimately understand what was the customer's experience, what was your team doing that could have resulted in that. So I wanted to just show a couple of examples of what this looks like on just an average week at Rippling. So here is a message, right? Very, very simple. Hey, the first item in the first epic that I clicked through was a loan item labeled high priority, and it dates back to July 2024. This is feedback coming from a roadmap review. Roadmap was submitted, details were hyperlinked, and then the epic that you clicked into, it wasn't groomed. I actually think it's extremely unusual that a CPO, a CEO, a COO is going to that level of detail, and this is just a random review. And so you see that happening all across Rippling. From a product management perspective, when we talk about going and seeing, right, Rippling's product is powering an entire workforce. So I'm the VP of product for IT. I am not an IT manager by trade, but the products that I'm building are for the IT buyer. It's for someone who's running IT, for their company. And I need to be intimately in the weeds of what that experience is. So every week at Rippling, I do MFA resets. Why? Because I need to go and see and deeply understand what my customer experience is of my product. It's not enough for me just to listen to the sales call and get sales feedback. I personally need to go and see and understand the details. And so when I say that we avoid over-delegating, we avoid delegating knowledge of what the actual experience is of our customers and how the decisions we are making are impacting that experience. The next big thing that I would say is very routine at Rippling is at every level of planning, specifically product planning, we just bet bigger, right? So if you are, it's very standard across product teams to say, hey, I have this support issue, or I have this engineering velocity issue, I need to go fix it. That will always be pushed to saying, how can you make it step change better? Not only just to go alleviate those issues, but how can you make it more valuable? How can you make this tool that we're building internally valuable for customers? I think the other thing that you will see on our roadmaps is that you won't see 100 A/B tests. Why? It's not that you won't see any, right? A/B testing is incredibly valuable. You get a lot of learnings, but it's inherently incremental. So if you are looking at your roadmap and all you see are A/B tests, know that you are in the position of only being incremental, right? There is no step change bet on that roadmap. And so I think the other piece is just we have one, depending on where your product maturity is, you will have 1 to 2 key step change items per quarter, per 6 months, per year that can either introduce a new product line or step change the product line that you are building today. And I was trying to find a screenshot of what to show you all, but it's confidential, so you're going to have to trust me that it's on the roadmaps. The third one that I think is actually truly the meat of our secret sauce is just how every Rippler shows up to work every single day. We are obsessed with urgency, right? It comes in who we decide to hire. We have a ton of ex-founders on the Rippling team. We hire people who are actively choosing startups. And we are wildly impatient. Across A through Z at the company, whether you are the CEO or you are a support agent debugging something for a customer, you are empowered to say, what is the MMDD? And that means, what's the month and date that is going to happen for me? And if you cannot give that month and date, then the next question will be, well, when can you give me that month and date? And it sounds super, super simple, but it completely changes the culture. Right? It's not an infinite amount of time. It is contained, and it compels you to take action. Right? I can tell you for myself, at the end of the day at 5 p.m., if I know I have an MMDD that I gave someone, it's itching at me, right? And it drives the entire momentum of how we build at Rippling. And I truly think it's one of the things that makes our product building and business building really unique is how urgent we are and how this one simple thing really, really drives that urgency. I think the other things that you'll see very commonplace as we're building products at Rippling is who owns this? Who can I talk to? Who owns this? Let's get very, very specific. And then the other one that I've observed is we just call, right? We are encouraged not to just wait to be blocked, but to actually, huddle that person urgently. Give them a call, get unblocked, because again, that MMDD culture is driving us to act urgently. So this is a fun one. As we were building this slide, I just pulled quotes from like an average Tuesday of what we're seeing on Slack, right? And what you see is there an MMDD on this? A little frustrating because I asked the same thing last Tuesday. I know everyone's working hard, but we need to close the loop on the details that matter. And again, what I think is really, really impressive about the Rippling culture now working there is it's not just our CEO pushing this. It is every person who works at Rippling is taking this level of ownership and urgency against the business, against servicing customers, against building the product. And that's one of the key reasons we're able to build so many businesses and product lines in parallel. So I think to close it out, for Rippling, building value means hyper-focus on how we operate, right? The pearl of wisdom for startups is to be hyper-focused on a single problem. I would say at Rippling, we're hyper-focused on how we operate and how we service customers. And there's huge emphasis on going and seeing to stay close to your product, into your operations, to bet bigger, to make sure that we are constantly pushing ourselves to the next frontier where we can service customers, and to really, really drive urgency in order to achieve that. Does anyone have any questions? There's an open mic.
Really project. Oh. Awesome. Thank you very much for that. So, not to make this about AI, but obviously Rippling sits on top of the employee graph, right? So, a lot of room for super deep agentic AI there. So, how do you guys think about, are there AI teams? Is there just an AI section as part of every PRD? Like, how do you have that AI fluency as part of the culture in the AI world?
There are definitely areas of the product where you will see us investing more in AI. And again, because Rippling sits on this incredible amount of data, it's a natural transition for us. But where we really are focusing is by business line, how can we leverage AI in a way that automates our work for our admins, right? Because our mission is to eliminate all busy work for admins. So yes, there are very specific teams that are spiking in AI to build out new products, but then also within the various business suites, there's an opportunity to leverage AI to further automate that busy work. So you're kind of seeing it dual planed, both at the product team level, and then also there are individual teams building out products, new products.
How do you dog food at scale? There's so many permutations and combinations in the enterprise. Somebody could be using Gmail, somebody could be using Office 365. You mentioned MFA, something you're dog fooding. How do you do that at scale for all your customers?
So depending on what the product is, so all products at Rippling get launched to Rippling first. And we are, 4,000 plus employees. So we are a large company that has many different permutations of devices, tools, et cetera. So it gives us a great opportunity to dog food. So all products must pass through Parker's Bar ahead of getting GA'd. And also, we consistently dog food our products first. And then on top of it, I can say for the IT product specifically, we make sure that we have different devices from different years running on different systems that we test ahead of rolling out.
customer of Rippling. I love it, for sure. So I have a question. When do you guys, from a product standpoint, think of it as a feature versus an app versus, a cloud? Like, is there a specific specification you guys have around this? But how do you define, okay, this is app-worthy or cloud-worthy?
So if something, so Rippling has standard clouds, right? We have HCM, spend, and IT, and that's generally how the apps layer up. And then, of course, we have the platform. But generally, the way that we think about what is a separate app is either it's going to service the customer better if it's a separate app, it's a component that can be used across the entirety of the platform, or it can be a separate product SKU. But we generally... It's one of those three answers, but it's generally a decision that is made at the executive level.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for...
I think that we are done. I am so sorry. Thank you all so much for joining. It was really, really nice to connect.